We will update our poll results from hour 2. More phone calls coming up as well. 877-3DP Show. Head coach of the Minnesota Vikings and the NFL Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell, joining us. Didn't I tell you you were going to be the Coach of the Year the last time you were on?
You called it, Dan. You absolutely called your shot, and
I didn't get a
appreciate you
shout
doing
out.
that.
I didn't get a shout out that night when you were accepting your award.
Let me. I'm going to throw you on the list of folks that I've heard that from, and whether it's Sean McVay, Dan Patrick, you would not believe that, but I'm sure you would know with all the hardware that you've earned over the
True.
over your illustrious career about those threats you get of the folks from hey, you know, when you hear the music, just know you better get off the stage because the armed guards are coming after that and they're gonna escort you right off. So you better keep it tight.
Where's your award?
I actually don't have it yet. They take it back from you. It's the award you cherish. You're so excited to have it, and then somebody takes it back and says, "We'll send it to you." I didn't know if that was, them saying there could be a recount or something. But no, I'm hoping to get it soon.
Where did you watch the Super Bowl?
I actually made it back home to Minneapolis. I always like watching it with my kids. My two boys love watching football, so made it back and watched the game at home.
Are you watching as a dad or a coach?
Oh, the second that ball gets kicked off, I was watching as a coach, just knowing, obviously Andy Reid, his staff, Spags, like I got so much respect for them. I was fascinated to see kind of how Vic Fangio would decide to play against that offense and Patrick and just the unique little things that take place in a game. The funny thing is that that game gets 2 weeks of coverage, and having coached in it in 2021, you look back on it and it's always these small impactful plays normally that have such magnified impacts on the game. And it's all rhythm of the game. It's all momentum. But when you get a performance out of a front like what Philly's front was able to do, that can be such an equalizer. And we've seen that over. I even think back to when I was going through the draft process. I was in Arizona and watched that Giants versus Patriots kind of perfect team. I inevitably was drafted by that Patriots team after that, but just what a defensive front can do to equalize a game, and the greatness in many ways of an offense can be neutralized like Philly was able to do. It was remarkable.
But a defensive philosophy going in to Patrick Mahomes is we're not going to blitz. I mean, that's pretty amazing, I would think, that you're comfortable with your four. And then, I mean, if you do the math, that's a great advantage for the Eagles defense and their secondary if four can get there. And it certainly looked like Mahomes. He doesn't get uncomfortable very often, but he was uncomfortable in the pocket.
Yeah, and I think, Dan, like historically, you've seen a lot of teams with strong fronts. Like that's the game plan, right? Try to maximize your coverage. You've got Travis Kelce, you've got some, speed and D Hop and different skill players, and you're really kind of daring them to be able to, overcome your four-man pass rush. And then they always do a really good job running the football, both under center, out of the gun. But you've historically seen that. And the problem is when that game plan doesn't have success, then Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they know what's coming. So now the pressure will start showing up, the 5-6 man blitzes. And that's when they have made a lot of plays to create the dynasty that they are at that point. So it's a aggressive strategy in a lot of ways because you're setting yourself up if they're able to move the football against that 4-man rush and 7-man coverage. You're going to have to kind of show your cards from there, and those are some pretty world-class people to do that against. So when it does work and it is effective, now it's about can you sustain it long enough and also have the right kind of offense on the other side, which they certainly do with Saquon and Jalen Hurts and those receivers all behind that offensive line. It was impressive night for the Eagles for sure.
the NFL Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell of the Vikings. All right, can you play this what if? Can you play this hypothetical? If J.J. McCarthy doesn't get injured, who is your starting quarterback this past season?
Well, I would say this, Dan. We had just seen JJ, play in his first preseason game. There was a lot of positive things on that tape that left us as a coaching staff saying, we absolutely need to see this thing through to the end of training camp. But at the same time, everybody, and rightly so, everybody was talking about JJ as the first round pick and exciting young player we're fired up to have in our organization. Sam Darnold was having a really good camp. And it was showing up day in and day out. It's one thing to, go to training camp practice every day, but when those guys are competing against Brian Flores and that defense, it's not exactly, standard defense that you're going to be able to say, your quarterbacks really haven't been in stressful environments yet, so we need to get to the games. Our quarterbacks, over since Flo has gotten here, they can't wait for those preseason games to come because what they're going up against every single day in practice. So I love the fact that Flo pushes us all to be better, and our quarterbacks get to be in a massively stressful environment every day, which only helps competitions and helps you figure out what you have. But I would argue that I think both guys would have continued on through, and I would probably say, Sam Darnold would have been our starting quarterback just out of the experience and knowing that I am very much constantly aware of the minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day development of quarterbacks. It's very important to me that I take the personal ownership and accountability to what that position ultimately feels from me, from a support structure, but also coaching. Josh McCown in the quarterback room, Wes Phillips as our offensive coordinator. We've got a pretty good setup around these guys that we feel like if we just invest in the daily, we're going to get positive results, and these guys are going to be kind of building themselves up to the opportunity to go have success playing in NFL games.
When do you make your decision, or the team makes its decision on Sam Darnold?
Yeah, it's an ongoing process right now, Dan. We're very proud of what Sam was able to accomplish. I mean, it's hard to win
Are you
in this
planning
league.
on him being there next season?
Yeah, that's if you would have let me finish.
I'm sorry. I just,
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
But the idea is this: we're evaluating, how we're going to move forward and put the best possible team together in 2025 and beyond. We know we're excited about JJ McCarthy. He confirmed a lot of the things in a very short amount of time that we had hoped to see from him before, unfortunately, getting hurt. And then Sam, took advantage of his opportunity and has really put himself as probably the premier player at the position going into free agency. And Sam's going to have some opportunities. We're working through what that looks like for us while also having some other real impactful players set to be free agents as well. So I think a lot goes into it. We haven't made that decision yet. I talked to really all three, both JJ's here every day. But I talked to Sam yesterday for a long time, talked to Daniel Jones for a long time. I just want those guys to know that there's an element in this where our relationship matters. The communication between me and those guys has to be paramount, and the agents and our front office, those conversations will go on. But what we try to build here is something that I hope is always beyond that, above that, especially me personally with the players.
If we did a combine for the head coaches in the NFC North, who would grade out better?
Are we talking all events here?
Yeah.
Well,
40, bench press, cone drill, three cone drill.
well, I think we all know who's winning the bench press.
Okay, so we take that off the table with Dan Campbell.
Yeah, and I would probably argue, Dan, that I would be pretty competitive in the straight line stuff running wise. I think I would put Matt LaFleur in that McVay category. These guys are more of those change of direction, short area quickness, those types of things. So maybe he gets me there, but
I don't know about Ben Johnson. Is he sneaky athletic? I don't know much about.
One of the things I'm always doing, Dan, pregame is I'm always watching who's throwing the pill around the field. Because that was
Like
probably the
Harbaugh.
biggest mistake I ever made was hiring Josh McCown, because he can still throw it and probably could go play in a game right now. So I didn't really think that all through when I started throwing some wobblers around in pregame. But I'm smart. Indoor stadium, a U.S. Bank Stadium, elite place to throw the football. We played in London and it was kind of spit and rain a little bit. I didn't touch a football for that entire warm up.
Very smart.
It was windy, kind of spit and rain in Jacksonville. There was not a football near me for that entire time. So I've learned to pick my spots and my moments to shine.
I saw there was an award handed out, and went to the best looking coach in the NFL. You finished.
Who won that one?
You finished second.
Man,
I
who,
think. I think LaFleur. I think LaFleur got you.
I would argue though, like if we could have a little bit of a campaign for that, and I think he puts a little bit more time and effort into it than I do. And
Okay,
that's
who puts more time and effort into their looks? Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur,
well,
other.
it's different, right? Because I think Sean probably has like a 4-step process that finishes with that hair looking the way it does. I respect Matt because he changes up his game sometimes. Sometimes it's a hat, sometimes it's not. But as far as facial hair goes, nobody keeps it cleaner than Matt.
I think Matt LaFleur tweezes. I think there's some eyebrow work being done there.
I thought the guys were gonna hit the breaking news right there. I thought I was gonna hear something right there.
I don't know what you can do in the off season to win this award.
Yeah, my wife's got a few ideas. It would require doing something.
You don't show the hair though.
It's because I don't have that much of it left. I mean, this job's taking it out of me.
LaFleur and McVay show it off. McVay has good moss though. I mean, you got to admit.
He's one of my closest friends, on the planet. And I got a chance to spend some time with him down in New Orleans, and I told my sons that, hey, I saw Coach Sean, and they immediately started,
fixing their hair,
up their hair, and he's been an inspiration to them. And they always ask me why don't I make my hair look like that, and I just shake my head.
But did Sean, like, he had the Super Bowl ring? Do you need to wear the Super Bowl ring?
You know what? When you win one as a head coach, I think you can wear it just about any time you want. I know when Coach Belichick, which was how wild was that the guy that drafted me into the NFL hands me the award. But as they handed it to me and we were walking off the stage, it was, I bumped into him and it just clanked against about 4 or 5 of those rings. So I wanted to make sure it wasn't scuffed up or anything. I mean, it was spectacular.
Enjoy the off season. Big decisions coming up, and congratulations again.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. Always enjoy it, man.
That's Kevin O'Connell, second best looking coach in the NFL.